Anne Marie here with another organizational project. Today's video focuses on reimagining my ephemera storage. Since I've been getting more into like mixed media and junk journaling, I'm using a lot of bigger pieces, and the way I was storing my smaller bits wasn't really working for me anymore. So I'm moving from cases and drawers to envelopes. I think it's going to save me some room, and it's going to condense down, like I'm pulling from at least 5 different spots currently in my stash down into one cubby. If you haven't seen these before, in my organizational videos, I show the long form, unedited, sped up video of me working on the project. So you can also pull out a project you're working on and we can work on them together. I'll pop in from time to time to explain something that you're seeing on screen. And if you'd rather just skip to those parts, there will be timestamps in the description box below. So let's get started. At the very top of the video, you saw the plastic envelopes. They're from scrapbook.com, and first off, a big shout out to them. I made a mistake with my order, and I figured it out like immediately, and I tried to contact them. However, they had it packed up and shipped so quickly that the customer service reps didn't get time to see my contact, and so they couldn't pull from my order. So they refunded me for my mistake and told me to go ahead and keep the item that I had not meant to order. So that was just amazing customer service, and I really appreciated it. So thank you to them. All right, next you saw the 4x6 iris photo containers, and you can still see them up there in the upper left. This was my previous ephemera storage option. They fit into my calyx drawers pretty well. The problem was that the calyx drawers, and really all IKEA drawers, have what I assume is a safety feature where they don't open all the way. Whoa, sorry, I bumped it. So I could never see about half of the iris containers that I had at one time. Like I'd open a drawer and there'd still be 4 or 5 in the back that I couldn't see. So I always had to pull out the ones in the front just to even see which ones were in the back. And honestly, it kind of made it such a hassle that then I just never thought of them. Like subconsciously, I didn't want to hassle with it, so I just never reached for those cases, and so I wasn't using that stuff like I should. The other issue was that the size of the containers, it obviously could hold 4-inch by 6-inch items or smaller, but since getting into junk journaling, I've been collecting lots of larger pieces to use for backgrounds or jelly plate printing, and so I've been using a 12 by 12 Sterilite drawer. I had a drawer in my Alex, and I really felt I wanted to be more fluid with moving pieces around. So instead of having to look in the Sterilite drawer and then in the Alex and then in the little bits and bob cases, if I had like a large piece that I wanted to fussy cut down, it just felt like it should all go together. I wanted to be like more fluid with, if I fussy cut this piece down, then I could put it into the smaller ephemera, and it was all together, so it kind of encouraged me more to do that. Plus, I like how flat the envelopes are. Obviously, that means I can't stuff them, but to me, it's going to be a lot easier to pack them for crops as opposed to 50 bajillion iris photo cases. you see any items from last week's thrift haul video, you can see I've cut some of the massive manila folder material that I had down and pulled some of those pieces into the storage. So now I am starting to put stuff into envelopes, and as I fill an envelope, I'm just using a Sharpie and writing in the upper right corner what's in the envy. I figure nail polish remover will wipe that slate clean if I ever need to relabel. I'm planning on storing these upright so I can rifle through them, and so I'm thinking of these kind of like file folders. those little trays, I just keep random bits and bobs in, and I keep that on my project trays. So that's another spot where this stuff was stored. And I would pull those out when I would make cards and try to find ways to use them. And it was just all so scattered. I just needed to get it together. Part of my son's nighttime routine is Pokemon quizzing. We flip through and we ask him some, and most of the time he knows them just from the description. Sometimes just the type, even. So, sorry, that was what that was. You'll notice I'm sorting by size. I had roughly split my ephemera into warm and cool colors before, but now I feel like sorting by size makes more sense. We'll see how long I go by that. I want things that I know will fill a certain design gap in space, and I never had colors that match perfectly when I would look by color anyway. some items I have so many of them that it didn't make sense to split them up. They just filled up containers all on their own, like florals and butterflies, constants for me. So I did break them into like medium, large, and small, but they got their own thing. I also had a bunch of unopened ephemera packs, and I felt they were generic enough that they'd be good to include. So this was the time to kind of open those and incorporate them. So you'll see me pulling some packs apart to incorporate as well. ephemera pack was all blue. So this was just my note to myself that that was going to be pulled apart and put into matching collections first to kind of reduce the bulk of it. crop and style binders with the divided page protectors. You could store your embellishments. I always had like too much stuff to make that work. I would have needed so many binders. Plus the pages got bulky and floppy to me eventually, and so it just became difficult to retrieve items. So I still have these protectors for mine, and I'm not going to use them in the binder system, but I'm thinking they might help me lay out some of my bulky but smaller items flat so they're not just all bunching up at the bottom of the envelope. I also had some regular pocket pages, and I don't use them enough to need all of them. So if I thought they would work, I pulled at least one of that type aside to experiment with. awesome footage. So here are some pictures of the finished system, including those envelopes. Here's how the divided page protectors worked out. All right, thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please consider leaving a like or sharing it. Have a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye.